as of lately, my sleep has not been great. I'm typically the type of person who can lay down and be asleep within minutes. I haven't always been this way. However, since having children, I'm simply exhausted at the end of the day and I have no issues falling asleep. In the current climate, with the weight and gravity while being quarantined and watching our world go through so much hardship, it really seems to all creep up on me at night when my mind is finally quiet. So in this video, I'm going to share with you my current toolkit. Now, these tips aren't going to be your typical tips that you've heard me speak about before or that you often hear people talk about when it comes to sleep. These things are specific to what I'm doing during our quarantine and how I'm finally managing to get some restful sleep. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Jessica, and here on my channel, we focus on all things mom life, whether that's cooking, cleaning, organizing, but everything we do in this space does have a bit of a healthy twist. So I like to find easy and simple ways to incorporate that in our everyday life. If that sounds like something you might be interested in, I would love it if you would take 2 seconds, 1, 2, and open up the description box down below and hit the big red subscribe button. All right, let's jump into my sleep tips. So as I mentioned earlier, sleep has been a little bit touch and go with me. It has affected me tremendously and my anxiety at night. Now, I am not somebody who gets 8 to 9 hours of sleep every night. However, I am somebody who, when I go to bed, I can fall asleep very quickly. I typically go to bed around 10:30 and I wake up at 5 o'clock every single morning. With the turn of events and everything that's been happening, it's been keeping me up later, and thus I've noticed I've been sleeping a little bit later, which wasn't going to cut it for me because I need that time in the morning to get situated, to get organized, to get work done before my children wake up, because we're in this house together all day and I have no other time. So this leads me to my very first tip, and something that I had to rip off the Band-Aid and really stick to, even though I was having a tremendously hard time falling asleep most nights. Sometimes I was up until midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning with my mind racing. However, I got myself back into sticking to this first tip, and that is to wake up at the same time every single day. I typically wake up between 5:05 and 5:15 every single day. This creates a natural rhythm for our bodies and our overall circadian rhythm. Also, this of course helps me go to bed most of the time at the same time every single night. I'm training my body thus to sleep and wake within a certain set of hours, so that way it doesn't take a whole lot of prompts for me to finally unwind at night. Now, my second tip is something that's really difficult right now with my children and all of us being at home, but that is to move or exercise. You can pick your poison every single day. If you haven't had a chance to check out my video where I actually talk about the current virus, I will link that for you right up here, but we talk about the importance of exercise in that video. So now more than ever, movement is really important. 20 to 30 minutes of moderate movement is super important, especially if you're having a difficult time falling asleep. If you're anything like me, then your entire routine is gone right now, and this sudden schedule change and having everyone in the house makes it a little bit difficult to get in your typical workouts. So I am not suggesting that you add one more thing to your to-do list. However, running around and moving with your kids will help improve your sleep dramatically. We all know a regular daily exercise routine will not only help keep you in great physical shape, it will also help keep you in great mental shape. And that's because regular exercise is known to reduce our overall stress and anxiety levels, which tends to be one of the biggest culprits when it comes to poor sleep. So I've been doing yoga with the kids during the day, and we're spending a ton of time outdoors running around. So the overall movement helps reduce the level of stress in my body. Moving on to my next tip, and that is to calm your overall system. A great way to do this is to take 200 to 400 milligrams of magnesium before bed. And to be honest with you, all throughout the day, I like to microdose magnesium 3 times a day. And what this does is it really relaxes our nervous system and our muscles. Magnesium is an essential mineral, which is critical for hundreds of cellular and biochemical processes in our body, including regulating muscle and nerve function, digestion, blood sugar, and levels of restful sleep. Some people are definitely more prone to magnesium deficiency, including those who have diabetes, gastrointestinal disorders like celiac and Crohn's, individuals on certain medications, and those who do tend to follow the standard American diet. Magnesium supplementation is available in a lot of different forms, including pills, powders, chewables, topical sprays, something that you can do on your legs and your feet before bed. So speaking of supplements, that takes us to our fourth tip, and that is to supplement thoughtfully. Other supplements and herbs are so effective at helping us get a little bit of extra shut-eye, including calcium, L-theanine, GABA, 5-HTP, valerian, which is one of my favorites, passion flower, and magnolia. My favorite, as mentioned on the list, is valerian. This is an herb that has been used for centuries to treat insomnia and anxiety by increasing the amount of a chemical called GABA in our brain. This produces a calming and relaxing sedative-like effect, and honestly, it's even been classified as the natural Valium. So valerian promotes a deep, restful sleep, and it can be commonly found in tinctures or liquid capsules. However, it is something that my husband says smells like stinky socks, and it doesn't have the greatest taste, but we will get to that very soon because there are some incredible ways to get it into our body. Moving along to our fifth tip, and that is herbal teas. I love to drink powerful herbal teas before bed. It helps me unwind so much. It's a warming ritual, and it helps my body and my mind begin to slow down. In the late afternoon, when you're winding down for the day, reach for herbal tea to help relax your mind and de-stress from the day. Herbs such as chamomile, lemon balm, passion flower, and kava decrease and ease tension and calm the overall body, similarly to valerian root. You can drink tea from any of these individual herbs, but I like the herbal blends that work effectively together and in conjunction with each other. Two of my absolute favorite blends are the traditional medicinals Nighty Night or the Cup of Calm, which have several of the herbs that we talked about in one handy tea satchel. It's such a delicious and easy way to add it in to your routine. For all of the teas and supplements that I'm sharing with you today, I will be sure to go ahead and link those in the description box down below. All right, guys, I want to apologize for the inconsistent lighting. I started filming this when it was kind of daylight out, and now, as you can tell, it's getting closer to bed, which is really appropriate for this video. So let's jump into our next tip, which is something that has really been helping me lately, and that is to write a gratitude and a to-do list before bed. So it's far too easy to crawl into bed in a mental state of worry and chaos. So racing thoughts, anxieties, fears, unsolved problems, all of these things have been going through my head. And if you're anything like me, all of the unknowing has weighed really heavily on me when it's finally quiet in my house and thus in my head. So what I like to do is I'm down in my office working on videos or responding to emails, and I like to just quickly jot down a few great things that happened for the day and a few things that I could potentially do better tomorrow, grounding myself while thinking about my family, my home, my health, my blessings. These things really ground me and remind me of what I have to be grateful for, even amongst all of the chaos. Similarly, I determine the priorities for tomorrow. With the new schedule and having everybody in the house, I have to be very precise about how I'm going to spend my day and what I intend to get accomplished. So I determine the priorities for tomorrow. Before I wind down, I think of the 3 most important things I need to accomplish or I need to take action on, and I jot these into my Google Keep. This practice will help keep my brain relaxed, knowing that I know what needs to be accomplished tomorrow, and it really helps me also thus wake up in a clear sense of the day's plan. I can jump into it immediately and get going on those things that need to be accomplished before the kids wake up. My next tip is something I also talk about here frequently. However, I do tend to mention this in my morning routines, and that is meditations. And at night, I'm specifically talking about guided meditations. So these help when I just cannot get out of my own head. You hear me talk about stillness and meditation here on my channel. However, I have been including around 5 to 10 minutes of a guided meditation to really help me quiet the mental chatter, specifically before bed. This may be one of the most powerful things that we can do for high quality restorative sleep. So meditation actually boosts the REM stimulating regions of the brain and helps naturally increase your body's own melatonin. And boosting our relationship through meditation is more effective in the long term than any supplement that you could possibly take. The next thing that I do is that's super easy to include in your routine is find your sleepy acupuncture points. So acupuncture has been used to remedy a wide range of health ailments. It's safe, totally natural, and offers some easy applications that can be used anytime and anywhere to help you fall asleep. So the two major acupressure points that can be pressed to help you drift off is firstly the small indent at the top of your nose between your eyebrows. You can apply light pressure for a minute before you fall asleep. You can also press the sole of your foot approximately 1/3 from the tips of your toes for a similar effect. If my husband and I are watching a show or Netflix, I'll tend to push the ones on the bottom of my feet. And then when I'm laying in bed or if I'm doing a guided meditation, I will go ahead and activate the pressure point in between my eyebrows. Okay, my final tactical tip that I have for all of you is if you're doing all of these things and you're still having a difficult time falling asleep, is to truly investigate the problem. If you have severe trouble falling asleep, it might be time to get checked out for other problems that interfere with sleep. Things like food sensitivities, thyroid problems, hormone dysfunctions, both which tend to be prominent amongst our demographic, mothers of young children. Additionally, things like menopause, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, heavy metal toxicity, and then of course things like stress and depression. So at that point in time, if you're still struggling, it might be time to book an appointment with a functional medicine doctor, get some labs, and get a deeper dive on what may be going on. I want to thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're staying healthy and safe with your family during this time. And I want to hear from you in the comment section down below. Have you had any difficulty getting sleep during this time, in this quarantine, or have you been exhausted and just crashing at night? Let me know in the comment section down below. And if you're struggling with any sleep issues, I would love to hear those as well. Potentially it's something that we could troubleshoot together. I would love to be here and serve as a resource. And again, if you like this type of content, I would love to see you back here. You can hit the subscribe button right over here on the screen. That way you don't miss a single video. And I hope to see you back here next Thursday.